Hey everybody, and welcome back to my weekly reading vlog. It is Sunday. I finally managed to start this at the beginning of the week. But it's Sunday at about 10:30 and I already have updates. So first and foremost, I did go ahead and finish Black Widow No More Secrets by Mark Waid. This is the second volume in a two volume series. And I did not love the first one, and this one was not any better. So here's the thing. Mark Waid, I'm finding, based off of the two series now that I've read from him, seems to rely much more on the art to move the action along and just doesn't have a ton of plot or dialogue or details, which which is fine. Like, that's definitely a style. It's not necessarily my favorite. In this particular one, it was a lot harder for me to follow the action though, because the inking on it, I think it's called inking, favored more red tones, and so it was a little bit harder for me to pick out exactly what was going on. But overall, even so, the story itself was just not really my cup of tea. And at the end, there's this whole thing that's going down. Obviously, no spoilers, but there's this whole thing going down, and Black Widow is saying a lot of things in like the most hokey way possible. I just could not get behind it. Um, I just did not really like the characterization of Black Widow in this. I don't think it was full out wrong. I think it was off, and that was my problem. So overall, I found that this just wasn't as well written as I would have liked, and it honestly just did not work for me with the art style or just generally how this comic was written. So I ended up giving this 3 stars, but overall the 2 volume series is more like a 2.75. I did not really like it, which is not great. But now it's done. It was a really quick read. So at least I wasn't, you know, sitting there hating it for a really long time. I didn't hate it, sitting there not liking it for a really long time. But I did go ahead and pick up in the Hall with the Knife by Diana Peterfreund, and this is a YA modernization of the Clue game. And I don't actually know the description. And okay, wait. When a killer storm strikes at Black Brook Academy, an elite prep school nestled in the woods of Maine, a motley crew of students, including Beth Peacock, Pickash, Orchid McKee, Vaughn Green, Sam Mustard Meister, Finn Plum, and Scarlet Mystery, are left stranded in the aristocratic mansion of campus with their headmaster. Hours later, his lifeless body is discovered in a pool of blood. With this group of students, nothing is as it seems, and everyone has a motive for murder. Fans of the Clue board game will delight in this modern reimagining of the brand. So, yeah, I was already like, yes, I don't actually like the board game, but I love the old 80s movie with Tim Curry. It's one of my favorite movies. So I was really excited to see this. I've only read one chapter, which puts me at page 14. And that first chapter, I was just like, yes, I am all in. This is, yes, yes, I'm good. So in it, I've already met Orchid and Plum and Mr. Body, who's the headmaster. So like, yes, I really, really enjoyed this. I am very much looking forward to it. Um, and I will probably be reading more of that tonight. And then the only thing that I might pick up before the next time I check in with you is Supergirl Being Super by Mariko Tamaki and Joelle Jones, illustrated by Joelle Jones, I believe. And this is just it seems to be a pretty straightforward Supergirl story. Kara is living in, I know, is living in a small town, and she's trying to fit in, and then some event happens that kind of kicks her superpowers into high gear, and she's she's got to get it under wraps, keep it under wraps, and also figure out what's going on. This is only 4 issues long, this particular story arc, and I'm just really excited to see what this author and illustrator team end up coming up with. So I will probably pick that up soon, but I'm not entirely certain if it'll be tonight, but probably before I check in with you guys again. But that's it for this check in. So until next time, bye. Hey everybody, it is now Wednesday night at like 10 o'clock at night. Just finished filming my wrap up, so I gotta go edit that so that it can go up tomorrow because I don't know why I do this to myself. But I just wanted to really quickly update you on my reading. So first up, Supergirl Being Super by Mariko Tamaki and Joelle Jones. I did go ahead and read this. It is a fantastic origin story. I really liked our main character, who I cannot remember how to pronounce their name. I really liked her. I liked the family. I liked her friends. Like I said, the origin story itself was really well done. The pacing was nice. The illustrations were nice. I only had one major issue with like a plot point that I don't think was necessary, that if it wasn't necessary probably shouldn't have been there, but that's kind of it. So I ended up giving this 4 stars. And then I picked up Marvel 1602 by Neil Gaiman. And I did this because I realized this is the last thing I need to finish my like 5 comics I'm super excited to read list. This was it. And so I was just like, I might as well just go ahead and go for it. And I read the first issue and I realized, oh, this is not for me. Like the art style was good, but not generally my preference. I think on a different comic, the art would be just fine for me. Like if I also liked everything else about it. The plot line looked like it was actually going to be interesting, but it was pretty detailed, and I was struggling with some of the details because I wasn't recognizing all of our characters. So like, you know, some names have been changed, and I kind of needed some of the names because I forgot that I am not a Marvel girl. Like, I've seen the MCU movies, but not like X-Men or anything like that. And when I read comics, superhero comics, it's almost always DC. And so I just didn't have the base of knowledge to really, you know, recognize all of these characters, which I kind of needed because there were so many introduced and some of those details were attached to them. And it was just like, I can't do it. Well, I could. And that was the thing. It was like, I could do it, but I'm probably not going to enjoy it as much as I otherwise would. And so I might as well just not, because like I don't want to spend a lot of time on something that I think that I'm probably not really going to enjoy anyway. So I went ahead and just DNF'd it. And then today I finished In the Hall with the Knife by Diana Peterfreund. It was so good. Oh, this is just so good. It's such a good homage to like the movie, the board, mostly the movie, to some extent the board game. The students all have secrets, and it's like so juicy. Like I really wanted to know all the secrets. That's what I was interested in. Like the murder mystery was decent. It was fine. I kind of actually guessed who it was. Not because any other reason that I just like, I think it's this person. Almost gave a spoiler away because I'm just amazing. But like I did guess who the killer was, but it was still interesting to figure out motive and how and all of that kind of stuff. And again, like I said, finding out all the student secrets were super interesting. We didn't even find out all of them. I believe this is supposed to be a trilogy, so I'm really excited to get into the next ones and like figure out how things are going to change at the school and like what the other secrets are and everything. It was a little over dramatic, I will say, but I'm giving it a pass because that's kind of how the movie was too. But overall, I really, really enjoyed this, and I ended up giving it 4 stars. And then, one moment. I have made a decision to go ahead and not read The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. This or the rest of the trilogy, because I realized that I didn't want to read it. So I don't frequently have these things where I'm like, oh, I should read it. But when they do, it is very difficult for me to recognize that feeling. That's why it took so long for me with this one. But like, I want to know why people liked this so much, but I think I kind of do. And I don't think my feelings are really going to change all that much upon a reread. And so I wasn't really looking forward to it. I didn't really want to. And so I said, like maybe in the future I'll decide to reread this and the whole trilogy. But clearly I don't want to now. So like I should not do it because you shouldn't, like I'm very firmly in the camp of like, if you don't want to read something, don't read it. So I just wanted to give you an update because it did appear on my TBR. I did mention it in this vlog, but I am not going to be reading it. So what am I going to be reading? Inheritance by Christopher Paolini. We're gonna finish out this series. So if you don't know, this is part of the Inheritance Cycle series that starts with Aragon. It's a YA fantasy series, and in Aragon, we're following our main character of Aragon, and he accidentally finds a dragon egg, and it hatches for him, and he becomes like the first new dragon rider in like a century, and everybody kind of pins their hopes on him defeating the tyrant king, and the story kind of goes from there. This is a chunky book. It is 850 pages. I have no idea why it needed to be this long. We shall see. This is my older child's pick for me. Like, he's allowed to pick a book for me every other month. So this was his pick. I'm not necessarily excited to read this. I haven't liked any of the books in this series so far. But I am excited to finish this series and be done, because whatever he picks next, it cannot possibly be as long as this one, because he's not reading any other books that are as big as this one. Whew. Anyway, I've already read the first chapter. I'm like 13 pages in, and it's more of the same. So we shall see. Alongside it, though, I am going to read Letters to the Pumpkin King by Shauna Maguire. This is a nonfiction and poetry kind of collection. It's mostly blog posts, and I'm really intrigued to see what is put in here and what Shauna Maguire has to say on various topics. So we shall see how this goes. These are the two books that I'm going to be in the middle of. I probably won't finish this by Saturday because I would be reading more than 250 pages a day in this book, and that's not going to happen. I do want to try to finish this by the middle of next week, though, so that I can just be done and move on. But we shall see how that one goes. But that is all I have for this particular update. So until next time, guys, bye. Hey, everybody. It is now Saturday night at about 8:30, and so I am wrapping this up just a hair early, which is awesome. And not gonna lie, I have made zero progress in either of these books. Letter to the Pumpkin King, still have only read one introduction. There's two introductions to this. Inheritance, I read the first chapter. I'm on page 14 still. I have read literally nothing in these books, and it's not like I was reading something else. I just didn't read. Sometimes that happens, especially when I get really, really tired and I'm reading things that I'm not necessarily excited about, and I have not been sleeping well, as well as our weather has actually turned, okay, not nice. It's still really hot, but it's not blistering hot anymore, nor are we having like really severe thunderstorms all the time. And so I've finally gone outside and started working on some of these yard projects, and they are really big and they take a really long time. Not like even just weeding my yard, like I actually timed myself and figured out, like I listened to podcasts the entire time I was weeding today. And I did just my backyard, and it took me 3 hours. And that's not because I'm terrible at weeding, it's because that's how many weeds there are. Yeah, so not great. So I've been doing yard projects. I've been really tired. I'm just honestly not as much in the mood to read. But also, I will be honest, I'm not looking forward to reading this book. Like, I know, here's the thing. I know that whatever book my kiddo picks next, it cannot possibly be as bad as this one, because it could not possibly be as long as this one. Look, I'm an adult. I'm an adult. I will suck it up. I will read it. I will not be super complaining about this much, except to, the people who have already agreed that I can complain to them. Um, but like, I thought I could get some of the reading in done this week, but apparently it's just going to get put off until next week. So that is all I have. Not a very strong start to the week, but maybe not such a strong ending. But like I said, hopefully I will be able to just kind of tear through this one next week. But that is all I have for this particular update. Leave me comments down below with what you've been reading this week, or if you have any thoughts about what I'm reading. And until next time, have happy reading, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.